Hey guys, welcome to Budget Audio Reviews. Today we'll be bringing you the Blon BL05s. This is a review after about more than 15 hours of listening. I spent a lot of time on the Blon BL05s and it took me quite a while to actually cut this video due to Singapore's heightened alert. It's similar to like a partial lockdown, but it mostly affects the fitness industry. So I've been busy at home with the kids, doing home-based learning, etc. and all that stuff. Also, the Blon BL05s is one of those IEMs, one of those earphones that you almost will have a love-hate relationship. The initial wow moments after some time will kind of get to you a little bit. I'll explain to you as we go along. It has a lot of positive points. It has a lot of positive features and strengths in it, but it's not something that I would wear long term purely for entertainment perspective. So I will run through with you why I think the Blon BL05s is good, and also why it is not so good for certain things, and why this has been relegated as a secondary listen, or if I need something a bit more technical, I would come to the Blon BL05s. I'm still on the line whether I should be selling these away, but I do love how they look, and that's one of its key selling points as well. A lot of people do not like this green. I personally like this arsenic green color. Alright, so the listening setup. Alright, the stock ear tips that came with the packaging, this is the best that I could have within the stock ear tips. It has this conical shape. Let me try and it has this conical shape that allows a slightly deeper insertion, but still it's kind of loose in my ears, and I find that I can't get a great fit on the BL05s. I find that they wiggle a lot in my ears, and there's a lot of air gaps coming in, so I don't get a great seal. So initially I was playing around with the BGVP A08 tips, but I landed back to the VG4 tips because I like how the VG4 tips allows the mids to come up a bit more crisp in certain areas of the trebles, and sub bass is a little bit more pronounced as well on the VG4 tips. It tightens up the bass a little bit more. The stock cables is nothing to sing about, so you can see all the pictures online, either on AliExpress, Taobao, whatever it may, even Shopee. You could take a look at the cables. They are okay, they feel good in the hands, but it's nothing to sing about. It's pretty basic, and the audio stack that I'm using to always listen to my earphones is generally either directly through the mobile phone, but recently it's always through the iFi hip deck. Now, just to let the audience which you guys are watching, the iFi hip deck generally has a slightly warmer signature, a thicker, fuller sound where the mids gets a bit more body. So typically the Burr Brown DAC that's inside the iFi products has a warmer sound signature. So that's my preferred sound signature. So as you guys are watching along, you understand what kind of sound I prefer, versus maybe you may prefer a different kind of tonality and sound coming from the source. So for example, the LG V30 has a slightly different sound signature coming right out from the phone because it is a ESS Sabre DAC, and the amp that's running through it has a slightly different sound coming out from the LG V30. Okay, but other than that, the Blon BL05s can be driven direct from the mobile phone. It's one of the easier IEMs to drive, surprisingly, because I think the impedance is a bit high for the dynamic drivers here. I have other earphones that I received recently, which is the Tanchjim Tanya. These guys are incredibly tougher to drive. We'll talk about those a bit later. Alright, so here we go. The albums listened to for testing the BL05s are Omara Portondo's presented by Buena Vista Social Club, Diana Krall's Live in Paris, Natalie Merchant's Ophelia, Seth MacFarlane's Great Songs from Stage and Screen, Eminem's Music to be Murdered by, Utada Hikaru's Automatic, Lacuna Coil's Comalis, and Dave Brubeck at Carnegie Hall. Okay, so we have a wide variety of music. I do listen to rock and metal as well, but these guys they excel in certain genres more than the others. Yeah. So at just $40 on AliExpress, this BL05s produces an extremely high quality sound, high fidelity sound. I do like the quality of the sound that's coming at you. They are so clear and so precise. So it's something really hard to beat. It's not that kind of warm and muddy sound. It's very clear, as if a veil is being lifted up and all the sound is coming at you straight, which is fantastic. The next most important thing for me, always when I wear a pair of earphones, it's got to fit really well. So the overall design of this earphone is actually very comfortable. So the moment there's good seal and insertion, they don't wobble, they stay in place very well. And all these curved edges here, they are very comfortable to my ears. Coming back to sound, the BL05s is highly revealing of most tracks that you use. So depending on the track quality, you might get let's say low quality recordings. It may sound a bit overly transparent to hear those faults in the recording in that sense. But other than that, there is nothing muddy or blobbed together or fuzzy on the BL05s. Neither does it have any glassy, sibilant or harshly bright. Very, very clean sound. The tuning, according to some friends who are more expert reviewers, they said that this is a U-shaped tuning with a neutral warm sound. So yes, no doubt it is a U-shaped tuning, but the mids is the star of the show. So if you're looking at vocal work, it works extremely well for jazz vocals and acoustic music, assuming there's guitars and all that. So the acoustic guitars will be lifted up from the track and into the mix and gets a bit closer to you. So if I do need to focus on my listening sessions purely on vocals, I would choose the BL05s. So this can be, in a way, a vocal monitoring IEM if I just want to stay focused on what's happening to the vocals a little bit more. Again, tips do make a difference a little bit with the 808, the BGVP 808, which is a bass tips. So the vocals will be a little bit thicker, but it starts to move behind into the mix a little bit, versus the VG4 tips, the mids come forward and closer to me. Bass is very quick. The sub bass rumble is available, but you know, the thing is, it doesn't stay. So you get a boop and then the bass runs out. So it may not be very engaging for certain pop tracks that you want the bass to stay and linger around a little bit more. Mids for vocals is for female vocals is all day every day. These guys are excellent for female vocals. The BL05s, it's got a great balance between body and clarity for vocals. So there's nice, good full-bodied sound coming. It's not so thick like the Tanchjim Tanya. So this guy has a little bit more thicker vocal representation. This guy is a little bit more transparent, but you don't lose that sense of body to the sound for sure. As compared to the Weezer HE01, which its strength is the neutral warm tuning. Again, on the HE01, that Diana Krall's voice sounds a little bit thicker versus on the BL05s. So it depends. If you want a little bit more air and clarity up top, so I think the BL05s will do very, very well for you. Upper mids blare and glare is very well controlled and tested with Natalie Merchant's Life is Sweet. So I normally use Natalie Merchant's tracks for that upper mid glare and blare. So this guys, it sustains really well in that upper mid frequencies, lower trebles. They don't hit your ears so hard that you want to plug out the earphones. So these are still alright for that. Yeah, trebles, again, these guys are fantastic. Trebles are smooth with enough brightness to lift the overall sense of air and space for live performances. So if you're listening to live performances, these guys work very, very well. Recently, I've been listening to Rainbow. It's the new ones, a live concert where Richie Blackmore had another singer coming in to fill the gap for the vocals. I was listening to, there we go, it's under Memories in Rock 2 Live. Yeah, here, this is the album. This is a fantastic album to listen to. Here, It's Soldier of Fortune. Yeah, Soldier of Fortune sounds really good on the BL05s. Very transparent sound, very clear, very crisp. The vocals are insanely good. Guitars, you hear every single plucking of the strings. So the BL05s works super well for this album here by Richie Blackmore. Alright, the timbre of the BL05s is close to natural and very lifelike across most instruments, from brass to woodwind to acoustic strings to vocals. The sound may come off just a little bit dry, but other than that, it works very well for most jazz albums. Yeah, the tone of the BL05s has got that mid-centric tone with bass and trebles kind of balanced perfectly through the middle frequencies. The note weight for pianos, percussions, double bass and bass guitars are firm but could be a little bit more authoritative. But this is being absolutely nitpicky for a $40 IEM. The winner here, I think it's the stereo imaging. The separation and spatial positioning are incredibly good with an almost in-studio performance in my head. So when I listen to this guy, I feel like I'm within that studio space and I can pick out every single individual instruments that are placed within that room. So I really do enjoy this sort of accurate listening, almost studio monitoring type of listening, which is fantastic. Details are pretty incredible. They are great for picking up micro details. The little sounds all can be heard, but they don't come off as harsh or hard that your ears feel very painful. Every stroke of the bow on the cellos on Natalie Merchant's When They Ring Them Golden Bells / Ophelia Reprise, it's the last track I think on that album. You can hear all that in incredible detail. So every breath on the flute, you can hear the breathing. All those things are fantastically picked up by the BL05s. So it's a brilliant audiophile listening experience. I really enjoy the listening experience of the BL05s. Yeah, so let's go to hits and miss and wrap up this video. Alright, hits and miss: highly detailed and resolving, perfect for female vocals, great for cello, violin and woodwind instruments because it has some transparency to the sound, natural sounding timbre and excellent in-studio type of performance. Here we go with the misses here. So let's see what we missed on the BL05s. The miss: it has a underwhelming mid bass. So the mid bass kind of it's not there, doesn't stay, doesn't give any body to the sound. You can overcome this with EQ, or if you're having something like the iFi Hipdex X bass, they solve this issue almost immediately and turns this from a miss to a hit. The slightly dry sound, again, it's I find it's got a it's in a weird space where I do find the timbre is natural, but as if the air around the BL05s, the sound of the air is you're in a very dry environment, like it's in a very controlled dry environment. To put it, maybe it sounds as if you're in a humidity controlled room, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I felt with the timbre of the BL05s. You know, it's natural, but you're in a room that is fairly dry. The ear tips out of the box just does not work for me. So maybe, you know, get some aftermarket ear tips and play around and flip around and see what works for you. The cables do not inspire confidence. The original cables are really thin. You could check them out. But I'm being nitpicky here. For $40 is a great package. Yeah. Alright guys, so thanks so much for watching. Reza here from Budget Audio Reviews. I will be bringing you the Tanchjim Tanya probably on the next video, following which I just got this cool looking ones from AudioSense. This is the AudioSense T180 single BA. They have a very unique and different sound, I must say. So I think this is part of my collection just for educational purposes. It doesn't sound fantastically good out of the box, but it's something very educational to listen to, and I do love this tiny ones so much, the Tanchjim Tanya. This is incredible for the amount of money paid. Alright, so let's get to the next two videos a little bit later over the next week or so. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. Alright, we'll see you real soon.